everybody. So this is a little part two to the Shabbat class. Um, we try to edify on different things. Kasaja is always excellent with the current events and the news. And as y'all can see, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, Israel. So stay prayed up, stay spiritually girded. Um, Cut out a lot of the folly. I mean, I know y'all see a lot of the folly and the pride and the competition and the rap spirit beef in Israel. Stay away from that. Stay away from all that. Even the entertainment factor of it. Don't get caught up in the entertainment factor of it. Ooh, you saw that? A lot of it is folly and distractions. We are people of spirit, so we're not going to do anything. Everything we're going to do going to have some flavor to it, no matter what it is. But understand that, there's a mission we on here. We gotta stay focused on that mission. Khan?
Gone.
All right. So part two to today's Shabbat lesson. We're gonna get into something a little different. Biblical figures. Biblical figures. Who was Joseph of Arimathea? All right. How many of y'all ever heard of or read about Joseph of Arimathea in the scriptures? Say Khan.
La.
And be honest.
Khan.
Oh, I read that story 20 times, Elder. All right. Well, we're going to learn briefly about him and who he was today. All right, Khan?
Gone.
Something a little different. Not hidden figures like the movie, biblical figures. Who was Joseph of Arimathea? Khan?
Khan.
Gone.
All right, let's go to St. John. We're going to start with St. John. He's written in all the four Gospels, but we're going to start with St. John. St. John 19 and 38. Who's my reader?
Salaki, is anybody else that can read? And then Dietrich, give him a break.
I got it. I got you.
Water.
Gabar Ash?
Gone.
Okay, Khan. St. John 19 and verse 38. All right. Like I said, we're gonna get into a little different, I started getting into a little bit more personal of who the certain biblical figures were that were mentioned. And the spirit just led me to this particular biblical person. All right, St. John 19 and 38. When everybody have it, say Khan.
Khan.
All right,
Gone.
St. John 19:38. Read that.
Gone. It's the book of John, chapter 19, verse 38. And after this, Joseph of Arimathea, being a disciple of Yahushua, but secretly for fear of the Jews.
Right. The reason why he was a secret disciple because he was part of the Sanhedrin. He was a man of prominence, right? And if you know, the Sanhedrin was like the Jewish council or government during the time of Yahushua. All right, go ahead. Not just like it, not Jewish. It was the Jews' government at the time of Yahushua. They were like the governing body, but they were privy to the Romans because the Romans were in power at the time. All right, so they're sort of like the boule or these blacks in government today. As much as they might want to try to help our people, they have to be privy to the interests of the white power structure. It was the same thing going on back here. Khan?
Gone.
All right, yeah, everybody do research on the Sanhedrin, the council of the Jews and the government at the time of Yahushua. It was full of Pharisees and Sadducees All right, and they were more so with the interests of the Roman government, not so much with the teachings of Yahushua. But you had members of the Sanhedrin that were secret disciples of Yahushua. Khan?
Khan.
They were secret followers of Yahushua, but they didn't do it openly because they feared the retribution that they would have. Khan? They was using wisdom. Khan? They wasn't necessarily hiding or being phony. They were just using wisdom because of their position. Right? Read on.
Besought Pilate that he might take away the body of Yahushua, and Pilate gave him leave. He came therefore and took the body of Yahushua.
Right. So he said, listen, can I have Yahushua's body? Because he didn't want, number one, he didn't want it to hang out all night on a tree, right? Because Yahushua was crucified. Right? Hold that. Go to Deuteronomy 21 and 23. Right? So number one, he was trying to keep the law. Number two, he didn't want any chance of Yahushua's body being desecrated. All right. You know, you have stories of Esau. They take the certain body parts
Right.
of famous men and they worship them. If y'all know what I mean, y'all can read between the lines. And also they take your skull, your head, everything. They desecrate a lot of people that were prominent in history, especially Israelite men. They would desecrate and take certain of the body parts and worship them, put them in shrines and everything. There's recorded history of that. So he didn't want a chance none of that. He said, let me get Yahushua's body off the cross. All right. Deuteronomy, let's go to the law. Deuteronomy 21 and 22.
And it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 21, verse 22. When everybody have it, say Khan.
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 Khan. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be to be put to death, and thou hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day. For he that is hanged is accursed of Yahweh, that thy land be not defiled, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for inheritance.
See that? So Joseph of Arimathea, he was a follower and a disciple of Yahushua. He wanted to maintain that law. He said, when you hung on a tree, your body should not remain out all night. You see how when they used to hang out people's bodies, remember Billie Holiday made that song Strange Fruit?
Khan.
Right? And she would see the bodies, she would be on a tour bus, she would be traveling on the so-called Chitlin circuit, right? And she would see the bodies hanging on the trees, right? Esau wasn't supposed to leave the bodies out, but Esau did that to put fear in the rest of our people and also to humiliate them. But Joseph understood that law. Get the body and bury the body because the body not supposed to be out all night. You're supposed to bury it in that day. Khan? All right, so he was trying to get the body of Yahushua so he can bury that body. He understood that law. And also, so Yahushua's body just gonna be hanging out there and the Romans coming and cutting ears and body parts off and trying to cut off certain of his body parts and desecrate his body. So all that was in his mind because although he was part of the Sanhedrin government, put your phones on mute. Put your phones on mute, y'all. He understood. He just didn't want no humiliation to Yahushua's body. Khan?
Khan.
All right, read on. Verse 39.
Verse 39. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Yahushua by night, and brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes about 100-pound weight.
Right. Go to St. John, the 3rd chapter. St. John 3 and 1.
St. John 3 and 1.
When everybody have it, say Khan.
Come.
All right, St. John 3 and 1. Read that, King.
St. John 3 and 1. There was a man of the Pharisees named Nicodemus, a ruler of the Jews.
Right, he was a prominent member of the Sanhedrin also. Right, he had a top position in the government. Right, go ahead.
The same came to Yahushua by night and said unto him, Rabbi, we know that thou art a teacher come from Yahweh.
See that? You see what he said? Even though he was part of the Sanhedrin and a government, guess what? He also believed in Yahushua. He knew that Yahushua was a man sent from the Most High. See, and you're going to have that in these last days too. You're going to have people in prominent positions. They're going to wake up to this truth also. But back then they had to be secret with it because they feared the backlash that they would get if it was known that they were followers of Yahushua. Right, go ahead.
For no man can do these miracles that thou doest, except Yahweh be with him.
See that? The Jews require a sign. He said, look, man, the Lord gotta be with you. The Most High gotta be with you because of the miracles and the signs, that the power that is being manifest through you, that you have to be from the Most High. Right? Come on.
Yahushua answered and said unto him, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of Yahweh.
Come on.
Nicodemus saith unto him, How can a man be born when he is old? Can he enter the second time into his mother's womb and be born?
Right. So he was like, look, he got simple. Yahweh said, he don't even understand what born again means. Not physically. You are older man. You can't go back in your mother's womb. But Nicodemus didn't really understand what born again meant. See, although people follow Yahweh and they understood he was a man of the Most High, sometimes he had to break down the deep mysteries to them. So Nicodemus didn't understand what born again meant spiritually. Come on.
Yahushua answered, Verily, verily, I say unto thee, except a man be born of water and of the Spirit, he cannot enter into the kingdom of Yahweh.
You got to be born of water, the word, and the Spirit. You got to understand the word. You got to be reborn through the word and through the Spirit. So Yahweh was telling them, no, you're a grown man. You can't go back into your mother's belly. This is a spiritual born again that you have to have. Right? Come on.
That which is born of the flesh is flesh.
Yeah, when you came out your mother's womb, you was flesh. Come on.
And that which is born of the Spirit is spirit.
But when we woke up to this truth and understood the teachings of Yahweh, understood the truth of Yahweh, the laws and the mysteries and the prophecies, now you're born of the Spirit. You have a spiritual rebirth. Right? Come on.
Marvel not that I said unto thee, ye must be born again.
He said, don't marvel, right? Don't get confounded. I said you must be born again, meaning you have to be taught all over. You're under the doctrine of the Pharisees and the government of Israel under the Romans. You got to learn the ways of Yahweh and the scriptures and truth. Come on.
The wind bloweth where it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell when it cometh, and whither it goeth. So is every one that is born of the Spirit.
Right. People see a change in you. They don't know where it comes from, but they look at you like, damn, something different about you. It's just like the wind. You feel the wind blowing and you see what it does. You see the trees moving or whatever, but you can't see where the wind is coming from. So you have a spiritual metamorphosis when you come into this truth. People don't look inside your body and see the spiritual change, but they see it on the outside. You start dressing different, talking different, looking different. People start noticing stuff. Yo, what's going on with you? But they wasn't in your body to see the change and see the actual spirit. What happened? They saw something is different about this person. That's what the born again is all about. Come on.
Nicodemus answered and said unto him, how can these things be?
So Nicodemus was still confounded. That goes to show you people in high position in this society, a lot of times, although they're in a position, they still can't understand spiritual things of the Most High. Right? Come on.
Yahushua answered and said unto him, art thou a master of Israel, and knowest not these things?
He said, look, are you a top leader in Israel and you don't know these things? Right? You have the Sanhedrin, you have the Pharisees and Sadducees. They claim their doctrine is better than mine. And you don't understand these things, so Yahushua had to give him that deeper understanding. But I just want to show that Nicodemus was a follower of Yahushua to the point where he came to him at night to get that wisdom and for Yahushua to expound certain things on him, although he was a Pharisee and he was in a top position in the Sanhedrin and the government of the Jews at the time that was under the Romans. Right? Go back to St. John 19. Everybody understand?
Done.
Khan?
Con.
All right, go back to St. John 19 and where we left off at 30, I think
39.
39. Yeah. All right. And anything you don't understand, we can go back. I'm just getting right to the main point. You can go back and watch the video, whatever the case may be. But St. John, the 3rd chapter with St. John 19:39. It expounds on Nicodemus and Yahushua's discourse with him. But my main point being, these were two prominent men in the Sanhedrin and the Council of the Jews and the government of the Jews at the time, and they were both followers of Yahushua. So not all of the Sanhedrin and Pharisees and Sadducees was against Yahushua. There was secretly a lot of people that followed him, but they feared the backlash, so they didn't really come out publicly. That's why I said Nicodemus went to him at night, right? So read on.
I read 39, but I'm going to read it again.
Yeah, read 39 again, yeah.
Con. And there came also Nicodemus, which at the first came to Yahushua by night.
See that the reason why it says at the first came to Yahushua at night, that's you go back to St. John, the 3rd chapter. Remember, it said he came to Yahushua by night secretly because he was a top ruler of the Jews and the Pharisees. And most of the government of the Jews and the Pharisees, they were against Yahushua and his teachings. They were privy to the Roman interests, and they were against Yahushua. Come on.
And brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 100-pound weight.
Go ahead.
Then took they the body of Yahushua and wound it in linen, clothes with the spices, as the manner of the Jews is to bury.
Right, the spices and the myrrh and aloes and the white linen, that was all to preserve the body. Not like now, Esau just throw you in a damn suit and tie or throw the clothes on you, put you in the coffin, and you rot to hell, to skeleton. Back then they had a way so the body wouldn't start stinking and wouldn't start getting contaminated. That was a way to preserve it. And then remember, we buried our people right away. So the body wouldn't sit around and be rotten and smelling and you gotta embalm it and all that. We didn't do that. We preserved it with spices and aloes and myrrh and white linen so the body would be preserved and not go into decay. Come on.
Now in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre, wherein was never man yet laid. There laid they Yahushua, therefore, because of the Jews' preparation day, for the sepulchre was nigh at hand.
Right, because it was coming towards the Sabbath, and they want to, get Yahushua buried and get out of the way so they can get ready for the preparation day before the Shabbat. Now go from there to go to Matthew 27:57. We're gonna read all the accounts of Joseph of Arimathea. But everybody understand so far? Any questions? Any questions or comments? Everybody with me so far?
Gone.
Okay, Khan.
Con.
St. John 27:57.
Come on, it's the book of Matthew, chapter 27, verse 57. When the even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Yahweh's disciple.
See that? So it said there was a rich man. We read, right? He was a ruler over the Jews. He was part of the government. He was part of the Sanhedrin. You can read that in the history. But it says he was a rich man and he was a disciple of Yahweh. So it goes to show you, even back then, Nicodemus, remember it said Nicodemus was a ruler of the Jews. It says Joseph of Arimathea, he was a rich man and a disciple of Yahweh. Right? So you can be in a prominent position in this society and still follow the truth. Right? For example, we have celebrities, rappers, and different stuff that follow this truth. So just because you're rich and in a certain position, don't mean the Most High can't wake you up to the truth. And that's going to happen in these last days. And that also goes to show you there's nothing wrong with having riches or being well off or well-to-do or wealthy or whatever the case may be. Long as you don't sell out, long as you don't betray your own people, you can be blessed in this society and still be in this truth. Everybody understand?
Con.
All right. Matter of fact, hold that. Go to Genesis 13. Go to Genesis 13. See, nobody said you could, in order for you to be a man of God, you got to be poor. No. The Lord did say he more so chooses the poor because a lot of times it's hard for a rich man to follow the Most High in a lot of cases. But that don't mean the Most High can't wake up a rich person. But he more so deals with the poor because a lot of times the poor are more humble. A lot of times the rich are more proud. But the Most High's word and spirit is so powerful, he can touch he can get anybody in any walk of life. Right? Genesis 13:1.
Con, it's the book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 1. And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold.
See that? So it goes to show you 13:2. 2 was the main point. It said Abram was very rich in cattle and silver and gold. And what did the Lord say about Abraham in the book of James? He said Abraham is the friend of the Most High. So you can be rich or you can have this world's blessings or the blessings of the world and still be a follower of the Most High Yahweh. That's the point we're making. Go to 2 Corinthians 8 and 9.
It's the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 8, verse 9. When everybody have it, say con.
Con.
2 Corinthians 8 and 9.
Con.
Read
But
that.
ye know the grace of our Lord Yahushua Hamashiach, that though he was rich, yet for your sakes he became poor, that ye through his poverty might be rich.
Right. See, Yahweh, he was a carpenter. He was well-to-do, but he didn't allow that to distract. He said, listen, my job is to do the work of the Lord. And that's also talking about the spiritual richness in contrast to the poverty, the spiritual poverty. Right? Yahweh was rich in faith and in spirit, but he also was compassionate to those that were poor in spirit. Everybody understand?
Con.
Right? You have the two front, you have the actual, and you have the spiritual. So it said, listen, it said, though he was rich, he became poor. He humbled himself down to the people,
Right.
right? So that he can relate to them. And so that they might become rich in faith and in spirit through Yahushua humbling himself to them. God?
God.
Go to Matthew now. One more. See that? It wasn't men in the scriptures, you know, they wasn't necessarily poor. You had men of prominence and faith and riches, spiritual riches and actual riches that were diehard followers of the Most High Yahushua. Okay?
God.
Matthew 4:18.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 18. And everybody have it, say con.
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 And Yahushua, walking by the Sea of Galilee, saw two brethren, Simon called Peter, and Andrew his brother, casting a net into the sea, for they were fishers.
Go ahead.
And he saith unto them, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men.
See that? So Yahushua told Peter and his brother Andrew, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Now it says they were fishermen. But now when you read the history of Peter and Andrew, they supplied the entire temple with their yearly supply of fish. They had a prominent business. All right, they had a business that was doing good. But Yahushua said, give that up and follow me, and I'm gonna make you fishers of men. Give up the worldly riches for the spiritual riches. But Peter and Andrew, they wasn't no regular lightweight dudes. They had a profitable business. Like I said, when you read the history about them, they were supplying the temple with their yearly supply of fish. You know how much fish that was? They had a very profitable business. And Yahushua said, give that up and come and follow me. Because a lot of times riches and money can be a distraction too. You get a blessing, you get all these hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars. A lot of times the Most High know us better than we know ourselves. Not everybody, but a lot of spirits can't handle that type of blessing and still focus on the Most High. You want to run out and run to the club and the girls and blow the money on all types of nonsense and forget about the Most High. But that's not in every case. Some men were able to be rich and still serve the Most High. Some had to put their riches and money to the side to serve the Most High. Done?
God.
That's why go to Matthew's 19:27 now. That's why Peter said this. All right, I know we're moving a little quick, but everybody try to remember the precepts. If not, go back over the class. And y'all should have your pens and pads, Bible and Apocryphas in front of y'all. Y'all should have your Bibles and Apocryphas and pens and pads out in front of y'all taking notes. I know a lot of y'all probably not doing that, but you should be. All right, you should be, because then this stuff will come up later and you don't have the notes. Well, brother, who was Joseph of Arimathea? He's the one, he's on YouTube that do them AI videos, right? No, he's a biblical figure. Con?
God.
So moving forward, have your pens and your pads and your Bibles and Apocryphas. I know a lot of y'all not doing it. You probably got a damn YouTube video of another camp playing while the class is on. If you're not doing that, if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. But I know a lot of y'all not taking notes. You just sitting here listening, twiddling your damn thumbs. Have your Bible, Apocrypha, and notepad. And that's for you. That's so you can. Our elders told us the same thing. This is class. Treat it like you're in a university or anything. Take your notes so you know this stuff later. All right. So, right. If you're not in a position where you can take notes, then go back over the video and write them down later. All right. But when you come to class, be prepared to take notes. All right. St. John 19:27.
It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19, verse 27. Then answered Peter and said unto him, Behold, we have forsaken all and follow thee. What shall we have therefore?
See that? That's why Peter said that. Yo, we gave up our fisherman business, man. We was making money. That's a Jake for you too. Yo, we gave up everything, man. What we gonna have in return? Man, I have my good fisherman business going on. See that? So Yahweh said, don't worry about that. Come on, I'm gonna make you fishers of men. The reward that you gonna get is beyond that fisherman business. Right. Like Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop 2. What's in it for me? Right? So read on. 28. Now Matthew's 19:28. Read.
Verse 28. And Yahushua said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that ye which have followed me in the regeneration, when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel.
He said, look, man, for you giving up that fisherman business, you're going to sit on one of the 12 thrones judging the entire 12 tribes of Israel. How can you compare the two? But Peter was like, I'm talking about the here and now. I gave up thing to come and follow this, man. What I'm going to have? And Peter was like, was it worth the sacrifice? I had a profitable business. All right, I had a business that was doing good. Right, come on.
And every one that hath forsaken houses or brethren, or sisters, or father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, for my name's sake, shall receive 100-fold, and shall inherit everlasting life.
See that? It said, everyone that have forsaken brethren, sisters, father, or mother, or wife, or children, or lands, anything that you had to give up because it might have been a distraction. And like I said, the Most High knows us better than ourselves. I know brothers that could have been rappers. And they was like, nah, like one brother years ago, a brother said he was about to go to his album release party. He was going to sign a deal and everything. And the album he recorded, he gave it to the record company. They was like, oh, yo, good. I think he was going to sign a $400,000 deal. All right. And he came into the truth. During this whole time, he didn't sign yet, but during the whole time, he came into the truth. He made a whole new album. He made a whole new album talking about coming out of the street, and they was like, yo, what is this? What happened to the first album? He was like, yo, I woke up to some knowledge and I don't want to rap about that stuff no more. The brother said the album release party that they had set up for him, the theme of the party was blunts and 40s. It was going to be called such and such album release party, or blunts and 40s, such and such album. He said everything was mapped out. And they told him, nah, we want the first album. We want the first, that other stuff you rap about. He was like, nah, if I can't put out music like this, I'm not signing the deal. And he said they was pissed, man. The brother could tell the story, it was years ago. Right? But a lot of times you may have to have given up certain riches because you had to compromise yourself, or the Most High know that would have been a distraction. Everybody's spirit is different. Everybody's spirit is different. Some brothers and sisters can be blessed and still maintain a focus with the Most High Yahweh Shah. But some, that money and riches and position, it will be a distraction from this truth. So the Most High knows what he's doing. A lot of times Israel get that money and go buck wow. So you got to understand that the Most High knows us better than we know ourselves. I can't give you $1 million right now because you're going to turn your back on me. I can't give you 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 right now. You're going to turn your, some niggas can't get 10,000. Some can't get 20,000. Lose their damn mind. And a lot of times money brings pride. So a lot of times people get blessed and they start looking down on their fellow brothers and sisters, even in the truth. That happens even in the truth. So the Most High keeps us humble. But if he know I can get this cat, I can bless this cat, and he gonna still maintain his integrity. So understand that contrast. But they were people of prominence in the truth, right? Read on.
But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first.
Right. See that if we feel like, oh man, I'm poor, I don't have much in this kingdom, I don't have this and that. Look how other people living so good. I'm keeping the commandments. I got my fringes on. You know, damn, why everybody get the I go through it sometimes. I'll be like, damn, you know, I've been doing this work for 30 years. It would be nice to have this, but I'll be like, you know what? Most High, I'm not complaining. I beyond appreciate what I have, but it would be nice to have such and such. Me and the Elder Torah talk about it all the time. Damn, over 30 years of doing this truth, man. And it would be nice to get better support, but we ain't complaining. We're gonna work with our own hands, do what we gotta do out of our own pocket, whatever. If the people help, they help. If they don't, they don't. We're not gonna sit back and have a sense of entitlement. It would be nice. It would be nice. You see young drill Jake, man. Jake is on Instagram with a lot of money. You like, damn, just give me a little part of that off the top. That's all I need.
God.
And Jake is wicked as hell. You know, dudes go to the strip club and make it rain. They take $30,000 worth of singles and make it rain. They throw money away. And you like, damn, just give me half of that, Lord. Give me a third of that. Give me 10,000 of that. And I'll make it work. Like, damn, the wicked prosper, but you know, a lot of times the righteous, you suffering. But you're last in this society, but you'll be first in the kingdom. Because if it be the Most High will, we'll be of the 144,000 or the 1/3, and we'll have the riches of the kingdom. Our reward, some of it can come down, but it's mainly going to come in the kingdom. Everybody understand?
God.
All right, give me go to let me see what I want. Right. Go to 1 Kings 4:29. 1 Kings 4:29.
Khan, it's the book of 1 Kings, chapter 4, verse 29. When everybody have it, say Khan.
God.
God.
Khan. And Yahweh gave Solomon wisdom and understanding, exceeding much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore.
See that the Most High, because Solomon, he prayed for wisdom, right? He prayed that the Most High give him wisdom to deal with Israel. Come on.
And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country,
Come on.
and all the wisdom of Egypt.
Go ahead.
For he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Ezrahite, and Heman, and Chalcol, and Darda, the sons of Mahol, and his fame was in all nations round about.
Go ahead.
And he spake 3,000 proverbs, and his songs were 1,005. And he spake of trees, from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of the beasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon, from all kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom.
And y'all remember there's a book in the Apocrypha actually called Wisdom of Solomon. So the point being, Solomon's true riches was his wisdom. But when you read about Solomon, what happened? Because Solomon asked the Most High for wisdom and not for riches, what happened? The Most High gave him the wisdom and the riches. Remember when the Queen of Sheba came to Solomon, his servant that was to direct her to Solomon, she thought the servant was Solomon. That's how rich his kingdom was. That's how decked out his servant was. Con?
Con.
So if you want the true riches is the wisdom. But because when you read about Solomon, when he prayed, he asked the Most High for wisdom. And because he asked for wisdom, the Most High gave him the riches also. Con? We don't have to get it, but that's in 1 Kings 3, verses 5 on down. All right. Matter of fact, just read real quick, Gabar. Read on 1 Kings 3 and 11. Y'all can start at verse 5. Y'all can read the whole 3rd chapter on your own. I just want to get right to the point. 1 Kings 3 and 11. Jump over to 1 Kings 3 and 11.
1 Kings 3 and 11. And Yahweh said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither has asked riches for thyself, nor has asked the life of thine enemies, but has asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment.
Go ahead.
Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days.
The Most High said, look, I even gave, because you asked for the wisdom, I gave you that, and I gave you the riches and the honor. Con?
Con.
So there was men that followed the Most High that were rich and of prominence. Go back to Matthew 27:57. Everybody understand? All right, y'all with me? And write down those notes, because those scriptures will link up, and they will show you that there was men of riches and prominence that were followers of the Most High. Con?
Con.
Go back to Matthew 27 and 57. Read again from the top.
Con, it's the book of Matthew, chapter 27, verse 57. When the even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea named Joseph, who also himself was Yahweh's disciple.
Right, but remember, we read he was secretly a follower of Yahweh because he was part of the Sanhedrin, and for the most part, the majority of the Sanhedrin was against Yahweh. Right, it's just like now we have, like I said, we got rappers, celebrities. I personally, talk to a few celebrities. Is like 2 comedians I deal with. One is a comedian and an actor, and they're known. But I don't reveal these brothers because they're in Hollywood. But they follow HOI. I got their personal numbers and everything. I talk to them everything. They support, when they can. Ain't dropping no millions or hundreds of thousands on us, but they give a little support when they can. But these are known celebrities in Hollywood, right? Couple of rappers, but I don't say who they are because they out there, they're known, and that's not cap. Straight up, I talk to them like I talk to y'all brothers, not all the time because they be on the road, they be traveling. One of the brothers, he's doing a lot of production now, but we still talk once in a while. Now I'm talking about known. If y'all seen them and heard their names, you'll be like, oh, I seen him in movies. I seen him in, yeah. I got a prominent podcaster right now that I'm in contact with. Most I will, I don't like to talk about a lot of stuff, but, There's some people behind the scenes. We're gonna put it like that, right? But I don't put them out there because it's similar to this. They're in certain positions in the society, so they got to use discretion. And you can't say they selling out or they want to. They just got to use wisdom for now. Maybe the day will come out when this system falls more, and they can just come out. They can be out there in the camp and everything, right? I heard a few other camps. Some of the more bigger camps. They got all kinds of celebrities, people in prominent positions. That's part of their body, but behind the scenes. And it's got to just be like that now for wisdom's sake. Kind?
God.
Don't sleep on Brother Nala. Right? Without saying too much, the industry that Nala works in, let's just say we know a lot. We know a lot about different celebrities and all that. And that's all I'll say. I don't always bring it out. I don't always bring it out to the forefront. But yeah. Because they make them sign gag orders that they can't go to the media or anything and disclose this privacy about the celebrities. One-on-one conversation, they don't care about that, but it can't be blasted nowhere. So if you say certain things and that the video gets out somewhere, it'll be like, yo, that celebrity will be like, yo, the only people that would know that would be, I was over there one day, hey, and they'll start digging, hey, who works there? And so you got to be discreet. But you have people in different positions that know certain things and are connected, and they're in this truth. So you have that even to this day. Like I said, I personally got a few, people in the industry that I deal with, but I don't, of course, I don't mention them out of respect for their privacy. Maybe that's what Kanye and Kyrie should have did. Maybe they should have just said, you know what, I'ma just secretly support the truth for now. I ain't gonna come out with nothing right now because I know these damn Jewish Amalek people. They have a damn hissy fit. Sabal was going into that at camp last night about who are the people that you can't say nothing about. That's who's the people that's in power. So maybe, but Kyrie and Kanye, they were moved to talk about, they was moved to say it, but maybe they should have just stayed in the cut and been like, yo, I'm going to follow the truth secretly. All right, like they did during Yahushua time. So read on.
Verse 58. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Yahushua. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered.
Right, he had to plead with Pilate because that was a bold move. But Joseph said, you know what, I'm going to take advantage of my position also. And now he's like, I don't care. Yahushua's dead now. I don't really care who knows. But he said, being that I'm part of the Sanhedrin, I'm going to go and plead with Pilate. Pilate could have been like, nah, get out of here. We're going to do what we want to do with the body. But he said, look, I want Yahushua to have some kind of honorable burial, so let me go get the body. I don't want the Romans to desecrate him and do all kinds of stuff to his body. All right, and that was an honorable thing that he did. And now he's like, I don't give a damn if you, because they probably like, why you want his body? Now he don't care. He's dead now. I don't care. Yeah, I'm a follower. Yeah, I was a follower of his, and I would like to take his body to give him a decent burial. Because I know you sick-ass Romans, you'll probably do whatever to his body. Who knows what they would have did to Yahushua's body? Right? Go ahead.
God. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth.
Right, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, Salakia. Go ahead.
And laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock.
Now remember, it says Joseph of Arimathea, he was a rich man. So this tomb is actually, when it says his own tomb, you know how even in this society, how sometimes rich people, they prepare their burial and their funeral services. They be like, I want this kind of coffin. I want to be buried here. I want to be buried. So that was kind of he had made this sepulcher for himself. It said he made this tomb for himself. It was a new tomb hewn out of the rock. And it said it was his own new tomb. So he had a nice new tomb, but he said, no, I'm going to make sure my Lord gets buried in somewhere decent and nice and new. And basically he was like, I'm going to give Yahweh Shai a proper burial. I'm gonna do it with some dignity. You're not going to throw him in a potter's field or desecrate his body or have his body, preserve his body somewhere to do all kinds of whatever to it. I'm going to give him an honorable burial. Right? Come on.
And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre and departed.
Come on.
And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre.
Right, because they witnessed Joseph bury Yahweh Shai in the tomb. So go to St. Mark 15:42. See that? So even in death, this brother had respect and honor unto Yahweh Shai to give him a proper burial. And he said, look, I have the resources to do it. I'm rich. I got a new nice tomb, nice decent tomb he can be buried in. We're going to properly wrap him and put him in a cloth and give him a proper burial. Read St. Mark 15:42.
It's the book of St. Mark, chapter 15, verse 42. And now when the even was come, because it was the preparation, that is, the day before the Sabbath.
Right, we know the prep day is, it would be basically Thursday sundown to Friday sundown. But we're going to do a separate lesson on the timeline of the death and resurrection of Yahweh Shai, because that's important. That'll be a separate lesson on the timeline. Right, read on.
Joseph of Arimathea, an honorable counselor, which also waited for the kingdom of Yahweh, came and went in boldly unto Pilate and craved the body of Yahweh Shai.
See that? So this is the same Joseph of Arimathea. Here is calling him an honorable counselor. All right, because the Sanhedrin was like the government, the council set up, to deal with different matters amongst Israel. But they were under the Roman rulership. They had to be privy to the Roman interests, right? Go ahead.
And Pilate marveled if he were already dead, and calling unto him the centurion, he asked him whether he had been any while dead.
Right, because remember, when you got crucified or hung on a cross, part of it was the torture of dying slowly. But the Most High he didn't allow Yahweh Shai to die slowly. Yahweh Shai died right away, so he wouldn't suffer. All right, but a lot of times it took you maybe even a day to eventually die. And that's why the Romans, what they would do a lot of times, they would break your legs and they would light a fire under you so you can die quicker from the asphyxiation. Because a lot of times you wouldn't die right away on that cross, you would suffer. But if they wanted to accelerate your death, they would light a fire under you so you would be on top of you hanging up there and it's hard for you to breathe already. The smoke of the fire would cause asphyxiation and it will make you die quicker. All right. But Yahweh Shai died right away. The Most High allowed him to just give up the ghost quick so he wouldn't suffer. All right, read on.
And when he knew it of the centurion, he gave the body to Joseph.
So Pilate was like, all right, go ahead, take it. He's dead already. Take the body. But notice it says he craved. It's using different language. It said he boldly went unto Pilate because you really didn't do that. You can't tell the Roman leadership what to do with a body. And he said he craved Yahweh Shai's body. I don't want y'all to do nothing to us, but let me give him an honorable burial. Hold that. Go to St. Luke 13:1. We leaving off in St. Mark 15:45. Go to Luke 13:1 real quick. St. Luke 13:1. When everybody have it, say Khan.
Khan.
Khan, it's the book of Luke.
Just read the first verse.
God, it's the book of Luke, chapter 13, verse 1. There were present at that season some that told him of the Galileans, whose blood Pilate had mingled with their sacrifices.
See that? These Galileans, Pilate had them killed and then drained their blood and mingled it with their Roman sacrifices to their Roman gods. See that? So Joseph didn't want nothing like that to happen to Yahweh's body.
God.
They drain out his blood. That's why he craved the body. Just give me his body so he don't have no kind of desecration of his body and humiliation of his body. Because they knew what Pilate and the Romans were. They took and killed these Galileans and took their blood and mingled it with their Roman sacrifices. So he didn't want nothing like that to happen to Yahushua also. God?
God.
Go back to St. Mark 15:46. Everybody with me, and make sure you got these precepts and how they relate to the lesson. Khan?
Khan.
Elder.
All right.
Verse 46. And he brought fine linen and took him down and wrapped him in the linen and laid him in a sepulchre which was hewn out of a rock and rolled a stone unto the door of the sepulchre.
Right, Khan, like a tomb or what they call them today, like a mausoleum.
Right.
You ever go to the graveyard and you see those stone, that's like
a
a tomb
house.
and a sepulchre, huh?
It's like a house.
Yeah, it's like a stone house, and people they put the bodies in there instead of burying them in the ground. That was the same thing. I think they call it a mausoleum, if I'm not mistaken.
That's it.
Kind of mausoleum. You go to a graveyard. Hopefully you don't have to, or you may be driving by, and you'll see there's like a little stone house. It's more modern now, but it was a tomb back then. But it's like a little stone house where they put the bodies in.
Khan.
Right, read on.
And Mary Magdalene and Mary, the mother of Joseph, beheld where he was laid. Right,
they witnessed where Joseph of Arimathea had buried the tomb, where the tomb was at that he put Yahushua in. I go from there. The last account of Joseph of Arimathea, St. Luke 23:50.
Khan, it's the book of Luke, chapter 23, verse 50. When everybody have it, say Khan.
Khan.
Khan. And behold, there was a man named Joseph, a counselor, and he was a good man and a just.
Right. The reason why I keep calling him a counselor, because the Sanhedrin, they were also the council. They were the council, the governing body. They dealt with different matters amongst the nation of Israel. Right? Go ahead.
Khan. The same had not consented to the counsel and deed of them.
The reason why I said, hold on. The reason why I said he didn't consent to the counsel and deed of them, to answer that, let's go to St. John 11. Salaki, y'all, I'm sitting near my window and Simeon is driving by blasting their music. All right, St. John 11:47.
Khan, it's the book of St. John, chapter 11, verse 47. When everybody have it, say Khan.
Khan.
We got it.
Khan. John 11, verse 47. Then gathered the chief priests and the Pharisees a council and said, what do we? For this man doeth many miracles.
They said, look, this Negro is becoming a threat to our power, man. He's doing many miracles. What we going to do about him? Right, come on.
If we let him thus alone, all men will believe on him, and the Romans shall come and take away both our place and nation.
We won't have our position with Massa anymore. This Negro is getting too powerful and becoming a threat to us. That's the council it's talking about. But it said Joseph was part of that council, but he didn't agree with them to go to get rid of Yahushua. Everybody understand?
Con.
But what happened? He probably was outvoted. That's what you have in a council. Sometimes you take a vote. More likely than not, Joseph was outvoted. But it said he didn't agree to their council. So that's St. John 11 of 47 and 48. Notice what they said. If we don't get rid of him, the Romans going to take away our place in nation. Sell out Negroes, man. He's becoming too powerful. And that it's usually Esau. It's usually Esau that come against us. But it was our own people that came against Yahushua. Because they was threatened that they couldn't be the coons anymore under the Roman influence. Read on. St. Luke 11:51 again.
Luke 11 or John.
St. Luke. St. Luke 23 and 51 again.
God.
I just wanted St. John 11:47 and 48. Y'all can read the rest of the story on your own.
Hey, Shalaki, Elder.
Bring it out.
Nicodemus and Joseph, two prominent figures within Israel, two, I would say, wealthy people, Nicodemus being a teacher and Joseph being a rich man and I guess part of the council. Nicodemus says, "We know that you're a man of God." Was he talking about him and Joseph, or do you think he was talking about the whole leadership kind of knew that Jesus was a man of God because he couldn't do this thing else God was with him?
Well, they all kind of pretty much knew. That's what Caiaphas, when you read St. John 11 that we just left, Caiaphas even said it. And he was a high priest at the time. All right, so the we is, let's just say a lot of them knew. Maybe all of them didn't understand or know, but a lot of them did know, and a lot of them understood the prophecy in the Old Testament. But they didn't give a damn. They just was worried about their position with the Romans. But the we is, a lot of them did know. A lot of them knew. That's why it gives you just three, but I'm pretty sure it was more. Caiaphas, Joseph, and Nicodemus. So when he said we, he more likely than not was talking about certain portions of even the Pharisees, Sadducees, rulers, and the people in general that knew Yahushua was a man of the Lord.
So they were just more scared of the Romans.
They were scared of the rest of the Sanhedrin, the rest of the wicked sellout Jews, and not so much even the Romans, because it was more so their people that would have betrayed them to the Romans. It was more so they was worried about the wicked Jews, man. Oh, you follow this Negro? I'm gonna report you to master. You know what I'm saying? So they knew, but they had to be discreet about it. Right? But the we, even if the we is just him, Joseph, and let's say Caiaphas or whatever, Nicodemus being a ruler, he had to know that there was others that knew Yahushua was a man of the Lord. Khan? Right. So they were more so afraid. They were afraid of the other wicked Jews that would come together against them. Because remember, it was Israel that really pushed Pilate to crucify Yahushua. That's why he said, "I'm innocent of the blood. I'm innocent of this man's blood." He said, "It's Yah that," and because of the political pressure, they was pressured into crucifying Yahushua. That's why when he said their blood be upon them and their children, our people also went through that curse of hanging and torturing during slavery. The same death that Yahushua died, a lot of our people got that during slavery. Right? Negroes are known for being lynched because that curse came on us from the death of Yahushua.
And Shalaki, it's like you drew the reference that, listen, nothing really is new under the sun. They were dismembering our bodies and desecrating our bodies back then as they did today, you know, taking parts of the bodies out after they hung them and burned them and stuff like that. Yeah,
Kind.
I didn't know they were actually like on that level back then as well.
Yeah, they were. And a lot of times back then they were more so desecrating the bodies. They wasn't a lot of times now they take the bodies to try to live because they want the organs and stuff. Back then they were just desecrating the bodies. Right? So yeah, they were doing that back then. When you read in the Maccabees, they was cutting out our tongues, cutting off our ears. Watch the movie Rosewood. When you watch the movie Rosewood, they was hanging out people, they was cutting their ears off, their noses off, their body parts off, and keeping them as souvenirs. They show you that in Rosewood.
They was more brutal back then.
Con.
You got a similar thing going on today where it's the same spirit, but it's not literally the same thing where these younger men don't want to be under elders, and so they don't want to because they feel like they'll lose their power. So they don't. So they want to split off and do their own thing, or even when they speak with elders, they don't want to come under eldership. They don't. They will stay simp. They act like the Pharisees, like
Con.
the people that conspired against Yahushua. They don't want any leadership. They want to have their own power, and that's kind of like the way that these Israelites were when they conspired against Yahushua.
Con.
Salaki.
Everybody want power. Everybody want power. It's ridiculous. That's why you have all these splits with these camps. And then the excuse they use is, oh, the elders are going off. I mean, and sometimes, me and my wife laugh about this sometimes. Like, sometimes the older generation do be off, man. They be on their second childhood, like Nas said, in that, especially our men, man. A lot of these brothers are, man, are 40s, 50s, 60s, act like big ass babies. So a lot of times the younger generation, their excuse would be, oh, the elders be going off. We can't follow their leadership. We got to do this on our own. But a lot of times it's rebelliousness too. They don't want no leadership over them. Kind? All right. Somebody else was gonna say something?
Yeah, Salaki, I was gonna say, I was watching a documentary
Who
about
that?
that. This Malak from Las Vegas.
Okay, Khan.
Salaki, I was watching a documentary about Nat Turner. And when they killed Nat Turner, they dismembered his body and took his head, ate some of his flesh.
Yeah.
And they still got some of his bones as souvenirs in down south.
They said when they killed Geronimo, they took Geronimo's skull. They said they cleaned off his skull and they kept it as a souvenir. They claim, I don't know, I think I read this in some conspiracy book. They claim they took Malcolm X's rod, Salakia sisters, his male principal part. I'll say it as clean as I can because we got women and probably children on the class. They claim that they took Malcolm X's Swanson Johnson and they kept it and preserved it. That's how sick Esau is. I don't know. I'm not a fly on the wall. I just read one account of that somewhere, but it don't sound too far fetched.
Salaki.
Not at
Don't
all.
you know when you I believe it's one of J.A. Rogers' books. I have to check back. It's either Sex and Race or Nature Knows No Color Line. They tell you some of the Edomites in the earlier part of America, a lot of the Edomites wasn't rich. They was poor. And they had started going into cannibalism. And even they was going into cannibalism with us. Some of the slaves, they was cutting off their body parts, eating them, and everything. So this is in Esau's history. We just read in Luke 13:1 that Pilate, which was the Roman ruler at the time, took the blood and did whatever other to the Galileans' bodies and took their blood and mingled it with their Roman sacrifices. So they got a history of doing this. When you go back to the Maccabees, when you go to the sister and her 7 sons that was tortured and killed, it said they was cutting off certain of their body parts and boiling them in pots and everything. And they probably was eating them. All right. Yeah, Tay.
I was just gonna say, you remember the Move people in Philly, right?
Gun. The Move. I was just watching that documentary on YouTube. The Move organization. They was wild.
Well, they got the kids' bones and stuff in I think it's the University of Penn. They lied and said that they had buried all of those, all those children, but they didn't. They kept their bones.
Gun. I was watching that on damn, what's that show? Sins of the City. That show, I think it comes on TV1. I was binge watching it, and that episode about the Move organization in Philly. It's an interesting show. It documents major crimes that happen in major cities, and it goes into a little history. I get real edified from watching it. It goes into the history of the cities, and then it leads up until when that major crime happened. And what's one of the main underlying similar points of the cities, mostly every city, it goes into the racial tension that was in that city. The crime might be some black on black crime, but they give a history of the city and the racial breakdown. And a lot of times when you watch the episodes, it'll go into the racial tension in that city. It's called Sins of the City. I think it comes on TV1. They got about 40 some episodes. I think I watched about 7 episodes. I was binge watching it because I like stuff like that. I learned from it. And they were going into, it was an episode about Philly, and they were going into the Move organization. And that was crazy, man. They burnt down like 3 blocks of houses. It was crazy, man. That was another incident where the United States law enforcement dropped bombs right in an American city. They dropped a bomb on the Move's. Now, the Move people was kind of off. If what they were saying about the Move, they were off as hell. They barricaded themselves in there with their children, and they said the house stunk, and they would make noise all times of night. They had Edomite women in there with them. I guess that's concubines. It was wild. Y'all got to watch it when y'all get a chance. But the Philadelphia police came and dropped a damn bomb, like Tulsa, Oklahoma. You got history of the United States government, military, and law enforcement dropping bombs on Negroes right on American soil. That's an act of war. Just like Hurricane Katrina. That's what there's if y'all don't, Kasaja was going into the hurricanes earlier. There's racial tension behind these hurricanes. I don't know if y'all heard about it or saw the stories, but there's blacks coming on social media saying, aha, all these sundown towns got flooded. That's revenge for Hurricane Katrina, and the Edomites are getting pissed off. The Edomites are, you niggers are mocking us. It's not nice to mock people dying, but they like, aha, it's mainly sundown towns that got flooded.
Well, I'm one of them.
because what happened? Because what happened during Hurricane Katrina, they blew up the levees. They blew up the levees. They dynamited. That was an act of war. That's why when our people was coming out of Katrina, they was calling them refugees. A refugee is a person fleeing from warfare, because that was an act of war by the United States government on the Negro population of the lower Ninth Ward in New Orleans. They bombed the levees and they flooded out the lower Ninth Ward, because that part of the city is like a bowl. So when they broke the levees, the water just goes right down and everything gets flooded. It's like pouring liquid into a bowl. And that's what happened in Hurricane Katrina. So now Hurricane Helene is a hell of a bitch, biatch, and it's kicking Esau behind in these sundown towns. I was hoping, there's a city in North Carolina called Kill Devil Hills. the name of the city is literally Kill Devil Hills. And they got hit hard in Hurricane Dorian, but I don't think Helene really touched them. But the name of the city is literally called Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. And I was like, damn, I hope the Most High flood and kill them damn devils. By Shimmer Mashiach Yahushua.
But Shimon Mashiach Yahushua.
Yeah, look it up. It's literally a city called Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. You cannot make this stuff up. Just like we had the Peckerwood gang earlier. You can't make this stuff up. All right, so finish off. Goodbye. We won't be too much longer. Finish off in Luke 23 and 52 again.
51.
Con.
Verse 51. The same had not consented to the counsel and deed of them. He was of Arimathea, a city of the Jews, who also himself waited for the kingdom of Yahweh. This man went unto Pilate and begged the body of Yahushua, and he took it down and wrapped it in linen and laid it in a sepulchre that was hewn in stone, wherein never man before was laid. And that day was the preparation, and the Sabbath drew on.
Like I said, we're going to do a separate class on the timeline of the of the death and resurrection of Yahushua. Go ahead.
And the woman also, which came with him from Galilee, followed after, and beheld the sepulchre and how his body was laid. And they returned and prepared spices and ointments and rested the Sabbath day according to the commandment.
So it's just, in general, Joseph wanted to give Yahushua a proper burial. Go to Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53 and 1.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 1. When everybody have it, say Khan.
We got it.
Who have believed our report, and to whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant.
This is the prophecy of Yahushua. The reason why it says, who have believed our report, because a lot of people don't believe the Old Testament prophecy of Yahushua, like the Old Testament Israelites. And it says, to whom the arm of the Lord is revealed. Everybody can't understand. Everybody can't understand that Yahushua is the right hand of the Most High. So who's going to believe the report? Just let you know that a lot of people not going to believe it, right? For he shall grow up as a tender plant, right? An innocent child without spot or blemish. Come on.
And as a root out of a dry ground.
Right, because they said, can anything good come out of Bethlehem? Said nothing can't come good, because where Yahushua was from was considered like the hood. Right. So it said he's going to come a root out of a dry ground. Oh, nothing good comes out of Bethlehem. Right. Come on.
He hath no form nor comeliness. And when we shall see him, there is no beauty that we should desire him.
And that don't necessarily mean I remember one time a brother from the UK, we was all back in One West, and a brother was bringing out this chapter, and he was like, yeah, Christ was an ugly man. Right? It doesn't necessarily mean Yahushua was ugly, meaning he just had a stern look about him. He looked powerful and fierce when you see him. You know, there's no beauty that we should desire him. He's a fierce looking man.
Con.
Don't necessarily mean Yahushua is ugly. Right? It just means he has a fierce look. He has an austere look, a stern look about him. Con?
Con.
Right, go
Con.
ahead. Verse 3.
Verse 3. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with grief. And we hid it as it were our faces from him. He was despised and we esteemed him not.
Right, it's talking about all the people that was against Yahushua, but because we know some of us did esteem him. Right, come on.
Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Yahweh, and afflicted.
Right, because he carried on our sins. Revelations 1 and 5. Unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood. Come on.
Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Yahweh, and afflicted.
Come on.
But he was wounded for our transgressions.
Yeah, he died for our sins. Come on.
He was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed.
Right, because Yahushua was beaten and tortured. All right, by the Roman centurion. So he went through all that for the sins of Israel. Right, come on.
All we like sheep have gone astray. We have turned every one to his own way, and the Lord hath laid on him the iniquity of us all.
Right. We all went the hell off, and Yahushua took all of that on himself and died for the sins of Israel. Right, come on.
He was oppressed and he was afflicted, yet he opened not his mouth.
Right. It says Yahushua, he didn't blame anyone. He didn't speak evil of what was going on with him. Come on.
He is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before his shearers is dumb. So he openeth not his mouth.
Right. Remember, Pilate told him, answereth not thou me? Yahushua didn't say a word. Right. Come on.
He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For
Right.
he was cut off out of the land of the living.
Right. He was eventually crucified and put to death. This is all, Yahushua, what he went through. This is a summary of it. And this is a summary prophecy of everything that Yahushua was going to go through. We can do a class on this chapter itself and get all the intricate points and the precepts of how it link up or what Isaiah is talking about. But it's a summary prophecy of everything that Yahushua would go through from his birth to his death. Right? Come on.
For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
Real quick, let's just get that. Revelation 1 and 5. I know I quoted it, but let's get it real quick so we can be clear, because all these verses, this is what Isaiah is really speaking about. Revelation 1 and 5.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 1, verse 5. Everybody have it, say con.
Con.
Con. And from
Con.
Con, we got it.
Con. And from Yahushua HaMashiach, who is the faithful witness, and the first begotten of the dead, and the prince of the kings of the earth, unto him that loved us and washed us from our sins in his own blood.
So that's really what Isaiah is speaking about in his 53rd chapter from verse 1 on down. That's why he keeps saying he was oppressed, afflicted. He was wounded for our transgressions. By his stripes we are healed. Because what? He loved us and washed us of our sins in his own blood. Everybody understand?
Con.
All right, come on.
And have made
Isaiah. Yeah, back in Isaiah.
Hey, Shalaki Elder.
Yeah.
Like it might be a silly question, but anyway, like it says here, he's the first begotten of the dead, right? Now we know, like in the Old Testament, there's a few other people who were raised from the dead. when it says he's the first begotten from the dead, what is that really referring to?
Meaning he was the only one that the Most High allowed him to bring his own spirit up to the heavens. The Most High, the other spirits was carried up, by the Most High. But the language that Yahushua uses is the Most High gave him the power to ascend himself up to heaven.
Okay,
If
so
that makes sense.
everybody else was raised by someone else,
By the
or
Spirit
the
and by
Spirit,
someone else. God.
but he was able to raise himself up. So that's what it means. He's the first begotten of the dead.
God.
Okay, Khan. Tawada.
All right. Everybody understand?
Khan.
Time.
God.
Con.
Go ahead.
God.
Khan, verse 9. And he made his grave. Isaiah 53, verse 9. And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence. Neither was.
Salakia, let me read this real quick. This is in the Bible commentary, Revelation 1 and 5. Yahushua, the first begotten or firstborn from the dead, guarantees the Christian's resurrection through his resurrection. See 1 Corinthians 15, 20 through 23. And remember, everybody else that was resurrected, the power didn't come through them. It came through Yahushua's resurrection so that we will have resurrection. That's why it tells you at his second coming, the dead in Yahushua shall raise first. So that's also going into the first begotten of from the dead. Because through his resurrection, he gave power to the believers to have resurrection. Everybody understand?
God.
Con.
Time.
Okay, come.
Con.
So
All right. Only
wait.
only he has that power. Only Yahushua has that power. Everyone else, it has to come through someone else. But Yahushua gave us that power.
Okay,
God?
so the dead in Christ shall rise first through the power of Yahushai. But the ones who rise after, like everyone is going to be raised for judgment, but the dead in Christ shall rise first. Can you kind of break that down?
The dead in Christ shall rise first, meaning those that died in Yahushua, like people die in this truth all the time. When the chariots come, they're going to raise up first and be on the chariots even before those that are still living. 1 Thessalonians 4:13. When everybody have it, say gun.
Yeah.
And
God.
first, let me get the one. If necessary, this one should answer it, but I might get both. All right, go ahead. 1 Thessalonians 4:13.
Khan, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13. But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep.
Those that are
That ye,
asleep are those that are asleep are those that are dead. Come on.
that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope.
Come on.
For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Yahweh bring with him.
Well, what?
Will Yahweh bring with him.
What does it mean when it says those that sleep in Yahushua, meaning those that died in the truth? Everybody understand?
Khan.
God.
Like you got brothers and sisters that they died, but they were actually still in the truth. Like some of us might be martyrs. We might be killed for teaching this gospel. But when we're killed, we're still going to be following, we're going to be actively still in the truth. Khan?
Khan.
All right, good.
For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep.
Meaning the Israelites that make it, that live to the second coming of Yahweh Shai, that's not going to stop those that died still in the truth. That's not going to stop them. The asleep means dead. Right, go ahead.
For the Lord himself shall descend from the heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trump of Yahweh, and the dead in Yahweh Shai shall rise first.
They're going to be resurrected first and caught up on the chariots first. Right, come on.
Then we which are alive and remain.
Then we which are alive, or I say we because I want to live. I want to live to see the second coming of Yahweh Shai. Like we all should want to live. Good.
Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Lord.
And we know them clouds are the chariots, but it said the dead going to rise first. And how did they get that resurrection? Through Yahweh Shai being the first begotten of the dead. Like the Most High gave him power to resurrect, we have that same power in Yahweh Shai to resurrect because he's the first begotten. He's like the first fruits over death that give us that power to resurrect when the chariots come also. Those that died in Yahweh Shai. Come on.
Wherefore comfort one another with these words.
Right, comfort one another. So don't really be sad about a brother and sister that might have died while they in this truth. You might be sad because you missed them, you missed their presence. You want them here in the flesh, but Most High we'll see them when we get there. Khan?
Khan.
Meet me at the crossroads so you won't be lonely.
Right.
All right. 1 Corinthians 15 and 20. Everybody understand?
Khan. And being a living sacrifice, like, you know, wholly presenting yourself as a living sacrifice, that doesn't mean, that just means you're living sacrifice. You're not dead in the Khan.
That means you're living, you're a living sacrifice, you're alive, and you can still serve the Most High Yahweh Shai in the flesh. Your flesh is your sacrifice. Let me give of myself. I'm gonna have to be tired at the camp. I might have to put in some extra work and cook in preparation for the feast day. I might have to be there at a meeting. I might have to go there and help a brother out. That's your living sacrifice in the flesh.
And tying in that God is not God of the dead, but the God of the living. Dying just means you're sleeping. You're not
dead in the spirit world. You're still alive in the spirit world. You're dead in the flesh. And that literally means the Most High, you're dead. So he can't deal with you on this earth. He can only use you on this earth when you're living. Okay? When you're dead, you're at rest. So you're not doing no works for the Most High. Your spirit, you're at rest. But when you're living on the earth is how he can use you in the flesh as your reasonable service.
You know, sorry for dragging this on. So to be absent in the body is me understanding that you're dead. But absent in the body, being present with God, is that, you know, I don't want to go into like, you know, paradise or, well, I guess the question is, being dead, does it mean that you're just like in some state of sleep, being absent in the body and present with God? And what, you know, is that going into, as Yahweh Shai said to the thief, today you'll be with me in paradise. He didn't say, you know, you'll be with me in heaven or in the kingdom.
No, he meant you would be in a kingdom. The paradise is the kingdom.
Paradise is the kingdom.
You would resurrect and be in the kingdom. To be absent in the body and present with the Lord, meaning it just means you're not living on the earth. Your spirit is in a spiritual realm.
So you're not in some type of state of...
Your body's not here on the earth anymore, your spirit is just with the Most High in the heavens. That's all it means. That
So
paradise is not, it's talking about when we get in the kingdom. Because he repented right there on the cross with Yahushua. So Yahushua said, you're going to make it into the kingdom. All right?
God, all praises.
God, but because truthfully, when we die, we go to the spirit world. We go back up to the Most High. Your flesh is dead, but your spirit goes back to the Most High. So that's how you're absent in the body, but present with the Lord. All right? You're just not physically living on the earth. Everybody understand?
Con.
God.
First Corinthians 15:19.
Con, it's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 19. If in this life only we have hope in Yahushua,
Right. If we only have hope in Yahushua living in this life, right? Go ahead.
we are all men most miserable.
What about when we die? Do we still have hope in Yahushua when we die? Right, come on.
But now is Yahushua risen from the dead.
Yahushua's risen from the dead. Go ahead.
And become the first fruits of them that slept.
Now we have power in Yahushua to even resurrect also ourselves. He's the first fruits of that. He's the chief or principal part of that. Right? He gives us that power in his death. Come on.
But since by man came death, by man came also the resurrection of the dead.
Right, through Yahushua came the resurrection of the dead. He's the first begotten of that. In times past, men did resurrect, but Yahushua made it official by his resurrection, giving his believers and followers that power of resurrection. Everybody understand?
Con.
So even let's say, hypothetically speaking, let's say the people in the Old Testament in the past, let's say they rose on their own, but now it's renewed in Yahushua. Now he becomes the first fruits of the resurrection, being that he died and was resurrected by the Most High. Now we have to go through him by what? Keeping the commandments and following his example. That's how we get the power over resurrection now, through Yahushua. Everybody understand?
Con.
Khan? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you gotta say that. You gotta say that one more time, Elder.
All right. So through Yahushua we get the resurrection. That's it.
It's a lot.
Go ahead. Huh?
So I said, how would reincarnation come into play with that?
Say it again.
Reincarnation.
Regeneration.
Regeneration. We use the word regeneration.
I appreciate it.
Regeneration and resurrection is two different things. Regeneration is just coming back in another time frame in another body. Let's say you die and go to the spirit world. In the third or fourth generation, like it tells you in Deuteronomy, you can be reborn into a new body. Resurrection is more so here and now. Like a brother could die and the Most High could give us spiritual power to raise him back from the dead. Khan, you understand?
Khan.
So the regeneration can happen at any time, but the final return with the resurrection would only be through Yahushua.
No, resurrection can happen at any time also, but regeneration is through a process of time. When you regenerate, meaning you die, you go to the spirit world, and then you're born maybe 100 years later, 200 years later, 300 years later in another body. You come back, it's like a recycling of the earth. You can come back in another 2 or 3 or 4 generations. But resurrection is more so, resurrection can be any time. Regeneration is a process of time. The Most High, you don't die now and then you're reborn 10 years later in another body. The Lord can do it like that, but it's usually a cycle that it goes through where you can come through different generations. A generation being, let's say 100-year period. But resurrection, you can die tomorrow, and somebody, the Most High, can get them spiritual power to resurrect you. And most of the time, when you resurrect, you come back in that same body. Regeneration is through a different body because you're born through another mother and father, same seed, same spirit, but through a different mother and father in another generation. Khan?
Khan, within the
We'll
same tribe.
We'll do some classes on resurrection and regeneration.
Khan, Elder, because that was always a question. Like you get regenerated. Do you get regenerated as the same tribe, or do you go into a different tribe of Israel?
We was taught in One West that it could be a different tribe, but to me it makes more sense it would be the same tribe. But that's like a gray area in scripture. That's really up to the Most High. But like when a man died and his brother was to raise up seed to him, that seed would what? It would be the same tribe as his brother because more likely than not, they got the same father. Right? But now what if they got different fathers from two different tribes? So I would say that's up to the Most High, what tribe you come back in. I would believe that you would come back in the same tribe, but that's up to the Most High. I don't recall anything blatant about what tribe you come back in. I would believe that it's the same tribe, but it's up to the Most High, as long as you're an Israelite. But it would make more sense that you would be the same tribe that he made you to be from when he created your spirit. But I can't think of anything offhand that's definitive that you come back in the same tribe. But it makes more sense to me logically that you would come back in the same tribe. But that's just me.
Right. So,
Right.
Elder, so you come back with the same spirit.
Yeah, the same spirit.
So I would think that too, the same tribe.
Yeah, it would be the same tribe because you're coming back with this. It's the same spirit, it's just a different body.
And you won't have any remembrance of the previous body you was in life though.
Right.
So, same spirit.
You don't have no remembrance. It's the same spirit, but you don't remember. But that's why you have deja vus and stuff. Stuff seem familiar to you because you did witness it in another body.
Salaki, I got a question.
You had those similar feelings because it's familiar to your spirit. But remember in Ecclesiastes, it says there's no remembrance of the former days. Imagine if you could remember everything you went through in every lifetime, you would go crazy. Imagine us remembering what the Romans did to us.
All the captivities.
What Esau did to us. And oh man, you'll be a serial killer.
Right.
We bugged out off this captivity.
God, don't yell out. Don't yell out. Say Salakia when you want to say something. Or excuse me.
Salakia. So in the regeneration, right? We not sure about what tribes they come back to. There's nothing concrete on that. But is there anything concrete on if spirits come back as the same gender all the time?
Yeah, I would say you would have to be the same gender, brother, because male and female spirits are different. I'm not coming back as a woman.
Yeah, that's off.
That's confusion. That's confusion, Doc.
The Lord is not the author of confusion.
The Lord is not the author of confusion. A woman's spirit is a woman's spirit. A man's spirit is a man's spirit.
You going into a trap in a woman's body.
Yeah, but
I'm not coming back as no woman.
Right, but is that in the scriptures?
Say it again.
Like, is there anything on that in the scriptures, like
that's common sense.
That in case somebody asks that question?
That's common sense, brother. If you're a man, you're a man. If you're a woman, you're a woman. Because men and women have different spirits. I mean, I could probably find some precepts on that, but I can't think of it offhand. But a man is a man and a woman is a woman.
Cause Salaki, hey, don't none of you cats get no ideas, man, because the scriptures don't say it that you're gonna go create some doctrine talking about.
Right.
Yeah, paradise. We're going to paradise. We're going, you know what I'm saying? We're going to Disney World than the spirit world. No, don't create no doctrines, man. I'm just
Shalaki King, because
Listen,
Yahushai,
hold on. Listen, certain things is common sense. The Most High is not the author of confusion. A man's spirit is a man's spirit, and a woman's spirit is a woman's spirit. It wouldn't make any sense for you to come back, Salakia, as a woman. If somebody asks that, you can just say it's common sense. But I'm pretty sure we can dig up some scriptures. But I can't think of nothing offhand, but
Salakia.
certain things are just common sense. I mean, the Most High is not the author. That's one scripture I can think of. The Most High is not the author of confusion. A man's spirit is made a certain way. A woman's spirit is made a certain way.
Right.
Yahushai says,
Sometimes people ask questions just to be asking. Israel, they sit around and just think of wild stuff to ask, but it's like, come on, certain stuff is common sense.
Shalaki, Yahushai said in the situation with Isaiah coming back, they were asking, didn't they say Isaiah was going to come back? And he says, yeah, he came back already. And yeah, he came back as the same, same gender, the same. He came back as a man. He didn't come back as a woman.
You talking about Elijah?
Sorry, Shalaki.
Yeah,
right,
Elijah came back as John the Baptist. When we do a lesson on regeneration, we can touch on all that. That's just common sense, man. A woman's spirit and a man's spirit is two different spirits.
Salakia.
That would be total confusion for the Lord to let you come back as a man, then as a woman, and
a puppy.
Yeah, you come back in the same gender.
Yeah, and then that's going into that kind of what is them people who worship the cows and stuff like that. You come back as a flower. Can you come back as a cow? Yeah,
the Hindus, yeah.
So that's going into a lot of confusion. First you're a man, and now you're a cow, and next you're a bird, and all of this type of kind of confusion. So yeah, that's awful.
Hey, Slacky, real quick. I was gonna say you could be a man with only daughters, but that's the only thing I could think of.
No, yeah. The spirit of a woman is the spirit of a woman. The spirit of a man is the spirit of a man. All right, but
Lock your elder.
We'll do lessons on that and elaborate more on it. Go ahead.
Just a little light humor. We be laughing about that all the time too. Like, if you really think about remembering everything from every past life, it's like Jake, he won't let nothing go right now in life. So just imagine you remembering somebody owing you something from 2-3 years or 3 lives ago. Negro stole my cow back in 23 AD. I'm not never letting it go. Like, every generation you fighting this cat over something, he done stole a corn or something like that. Like, 'cause Jake ain't gonna let nothing go right now.
Right.
Remember, Jay-Z said, I'll kill you and commit suicide so I can kill you again, or something like that. Right? He has some lyric like that.
That's crazy. That's real hate.
Yeah,
only a Jake would think of that.
Then I'll commit suicide so I can kill you again, something like that.
That's crazy.
So Jake would, he wouldn't let nothing go. That man stole my turtle doves in 300 BC. Now I'm gonna see that nigga in 2024 AD. That's how Jake is, man.
Yeah, Jake could be Michael Myers. Jake could be Michael Myers out here.
God, Jake don't forget nothing now in this world. Imagine if he could remember everything. That's crazy. But yeah, interesting questions, Akin. We gotta do lessons on all that stuff. Yeah, that was Jay-Z on a Black album. Yeah, he said something about I'll kill you, then kill myself so I can kill you. Something like that. So you're gonna die, you're gonna kill yourself so you can go to the spirit world and kill a person again. That's crazy. That's like Jake shooting up somebody's funeral or shooting up the casket. What you gonna do? And Jake is that evil now. Imagine if they could remember everything. Huh?
God.
Done.
Yeah. So 1 Corinthians, what we was at, 15?
15 and 22.
Yeah, so like y'all, we could touch on a lot of that stuff in future lessons, but
Yes, Allah. Please do a lesson
if we
on
get
this.
if we get a precept for all that stuff now, we'll be here till tomorrow. But yeah, we can touch on that in the future. All right, read.
Verse 22. For as in Adam all die, even so in Hamashiach Yahushai shall all be made alive.
Right, that's it on that. We touched on the main point of that, and like I said, we can do lessons on that in the future. Now, Kasaja, pull up a few of them articles. I mean, articles, them screenshots I sent you. Get the one from the blue letter first. There's a little screenshot I sent from the blue letter. So like I should have sent them this last time.
Elder. I'm pulling it up.
Okay. All right. So right here, this is the blue letter. It says Arimathea. It means heights. The name of several cities in Palestine, the one mentioned in Matthew 27:57, Mark 15:43, Luke 23:51, John 19:38, appears to have been the same as the birthplace of Samuel in Mount Ephraim. So it's just giving you the geographical location of Arimathea. Now, some of the scholars, they differ on the location, but a lot of them agreed it was in Mount Ephraim where Samuel was born. Some say it was in the what's called the Central District of Israel, but it more so says it's in Mount Ephraim. It was I believe northwest, about 8 miles northwest of Jerusalem, I believe. So that's basically that was the birthplace of Samuel the prophet and Joseph of Arimathea. Arimathea being in Mount Ephraim. That's why the name of it is Heights. All right. Because it was most scholars say it was Mount Ephraim, northwest of Jerusalem. So go ahead. Next slide. Next screenshot. No, go to the other one. I want that one for last. Yeah, right there. It says Arimathea, the birthplace, and go to the next one. This is in the New Unger's Bible Dictionary. It says the birthplace and sepulchre of Joseph in Judea. Here, the body of Yahushua was buried. It gives you all the scriptures. G. Dalman's Sacred Sites and Ways identifies it with the present Rentis. All right, present day it's called Rentis. Jerome Church Father Jerome identified it with he called it Remphtis. Once most probably Ramathaim, which was the home of Samuel, situated northwest of Jerusalem in the hill country of Ephraim. That's in the New Unger's Bible Dictionary under Arimathea. Now go to the final one. Okay, yeah, right there. Let me open up mine. So it gives you a little bit more, just a tiny bit more history on Joseph of Arimathea. Now remember, there's different Joseph, right? So you see right there, it says Arimathea. You see as a number 9 next to Arimathea, because there's 8 Josephs before that. And after it's number 10 and 11. So it's about 11 different Josephs that it goes into in the biblical history. Then it goes into Joseph in Egypt. All right. So there were many different Josephs in the scriptures. All right. Yahweh-Saps. Not Yahweh-Sap East Coast, but Yahweh-Sap of Arimathea. So there were different Josephs in the Bible, Khan?
Khan.
All right.
Salakia, I got a question.
These loud ass kids out in front of my window. Go ahead.
So Arimathea, is this where the Aramaic language derived?
I never read that.
Because I wonder.
That's just the name of the city.
Okay, Khan.
I don't believe it has anything to do with the Aramaic language. It's just the name of the city.
Okay, Khan. Reason I was asking, because I always get Christians who come up and say, "Oh, Jesus was Aramaic," and I was wondering. I was trying to figure that out. That's something for me to look into right there.
Yeah, they Yahushua was a Jew. He was not an Aramaic. He was a Jew. I mean, that's clear in the scripture. He comes out of the tribe of Judah. You mean they saying he spoke Aramaic?
Right, he spoke Aramaic, and I was wondering if Aramaic came from Arimathea, if it started there, and because they always say, "Oh, Jesus spoke Aramaic." Well, the Jews in Arimathea they was all Jews there.
Right. The Aramaic goes back to the Chaldeans. So the city Arimathea has nothing to do with the Aramaic language.
Okay, Khan, that was my question. Really.
It's just a name. It's just the name of the city.
Okay, Khan.
Yeah. So Joseph of Arimathea, and Yahushua, more likely than not, he can probably speak any language. But what does that have to do with anything? He was the Hebrew Israelite for the tribe of Judah, and he died for the Israelites. What does language have to do with anything? I mean, what point are they trying to make with that? Oh, he spoke Aramaic. He probably can speak any damn language on the planet. He was the son of the Most High. But it has nothing to do with his lineage and his death and who he died for. I don't know. That's like saying we speak English now. Okay, we speak English, and what? We're still teaching that, according to the scriptures, we are the Israelites. Your language doesn't determine your nationality. I could go out and learn 10 languages tomorrow. And because I speak those languages, I mean, come on. Because I speak Mandarin Chinese, does that make me a Moabite? No, what kind of argument is that?
Yeah, Christians are so confused
That has nothing to do with salvation. That he spoke Aramaic
Christian,
and what?
Yeah, they are so confused. They don't know that. They don't know the difference between Hebrew and Aramaic. They don't, and they run with anything that somebody told them. So, yeah, it's you don't even have to fight that.
Yeah, and even if let's say Yahushua did speak Aramaic. Okay, fine. What does that have to do with salvation? What does that have to do with who he died for? His ministry wasn't based upon language. His ministry was based upon a people. That's why in Revelation 1 it said, unto him that loved us and washed us from our own sins in his own blood. It didn't say he loved Aramaic and cleansed Aramaic in his own blood. So what point does that make? He can speak any language. Like I said, we speak English now. Yeah, Aramaic has different roots. Actually, yeah. But my main point being Arimathea has nothing to do with Aramaic. It's a name, it's just a name of a city. All right, and Yahushua speaking Aramaic has nothing to do with salvation. That's not a point of salvation, what language he spoke. We speak English now. Our original language was Hebrew. We did speak Aramaic throughout different history, but the language you speak does not determine salvation. Like I said, I could speak Mandarin now. That doesn't make me a Moabite. I'm just an Israelite that know a language of another nation. All right, so this is Arimathea, a prominent member of the council. Joseph of Arimathea, a prominent member of the council or the Sanhedrin. All right, when y'all get a chance, research the Sanhedrin. S as in Sam, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy, H as in hat, E as in Eric, D as in David, R as in Ralph, A as in Apple, N as in Nancy. Sanhedrin. I, it's an I, Salakia. I-N at the end, Salakia. Research the Sanhedrin. All right? A prominent member of the council who himself was waiting for the kingdom of Yahweh and was a secret disciple of Yahushua. The crucifixion seems to have wrought in him positive convictions, for upon learning of the death of our Lord, he gathered up courage and went in before Pilate and asked for the body of Yahushua. Remember, we brought that out. He boldly went in. He was like, look, Yahushua is dead now, so that stirred up something in him. He like, look, y'all killed the Messiah, man. I don't care no more. I'm going to ask for his body so I can give him a proper burial. I don't care if y'all know I'm a follower now. All right? Pilate, having learned from the centurion who had charge of the execution that Yahushua was actually dead, gave the body to Joseph, who took it down from the cross after it had been embalmed at the cost of Nicodemus, another secret disciple. Joseph had the body wrapped in linen and deposited in a new tomb belonging to himself and located in a garden in the place where he was crucified. Luke describes Joseph as a good and righteous man and adds that he had not consented to their plan and action, i.e., of the Jewish authorities. From the remark, it seems to be evident that he was a member of the Sanhedrin. All right, so again, it's just giving you a reiteration who Joseph of Arimathea was and a little bit more history into him. You can also Google him. They got different articles and stuff on him. You can get a little bit deeper history on him. But it's basically going to give you the same thing. Most of his history comes from the scripture, and he accounts in the gospel of who this brother was. Khan?
Hey, Shalaki Elder.
Hold on 1 second. Let's go to Sirach 44:1. Let me just finish this out.
Khan.
Let's go to Sirach chapter 44 and verse 1.
It's the book of Sirach, chapter 44, verse 1. Everybody have it, say Khan.
God.
Khan. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us.
Right, before hold on, before we read that, go back to Isaiah 53 real quick. It's something I want to finish in there. Isaiah 53, 8 and 9. We read 8, but read it again.
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 8. He was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation?
Go ahead.
For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgression of my people was he stricken.
Right, basically he died for Israel. He was cut off from the land of the living. He was put to death. And he was, for the transgressions of my people was he stricken, right? He took on the sins of Israel. Right, go ahead.
And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death.
See that? It said he made his grave with the wicked, meaning, all right, that's kind of like poetic language. Meaning the wicked led him to his grave. The wicked Pharisees and Sadducees and Israelites and the Roman government. He said it's made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death. So that was a prophecy that Joseph of Arimathea, this rich disciple, would give him a proper burial. Right? He would bury him in a nice tomb and give him a proper burial. Okay?
God.
It was prophesied from Isaiah 53 and 9. Verses 1 through 9 goes from the birth to the death of Yahushua. It's a summary. Read on.
And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death.
Right, meaning the wicked caused them to go to the grave, but he was buried with the rich, or he was buried by a rich man. Right, go ahead.
Because he had done no violence.
Because he didn't do no violence to anybody. Come on.
Neither was any deceit in his mouth.
Right, so he was worthy of a decent burial. He wasn't worthy of the Romans just killing him and desecrating his body. So Joseph took advantage of his position and said, look, I'm going to go and get his body from Pilate, and I'm going to give him a proper burial. I'm a rich man. I can afford it. I got a tomb already made, a nice tomb that I made for myself, but I'm going to give that for the Lord's body. Khan?
God.
All right. So now go back to Ecclesiasticus 44 and 1.
The book of Sirach, chapter 44, verse 1. Let us now praise famous men and our fathers that begat us.
Come on.
The Lord hath wrought great glory by them through his great power from the beginning. Such as did bear rule in their kingdoms, men renowned for their power, giving counsel by their understanding and declaring prophecies.
So it says, let us now praise famous men. So what would Joseph of Arimathea be famous for? Giving Yahushua a proper and decent burial. And that's important because, you know, he like, yo, y'all not going to do nothing defiled to my Savior's body. Of course, the Most High allowed him to have that courage and go to Pilate and allow Pilate to give up the body. But he should be famous and known for having a zeal to give Yahushua a proper burial and have his body not desecrated and defiled. Right? Go ahead.
Leaders of the people by their counsels and by their knowledge of learning meet for the people. Wise and eloquent are their instructions.
Wise and eloquent in their instructions. Right? So we gotta praise famous men and men renowned for the great works they did. And this was a great work that this brother Joseph of Arimathea did in respect to Yahweh's body. Khan?
Khan.
Right? Let us now praise famous men. So like I said, like I reiterate, this brother's famous for giving Yahweh a proper burial and in a nice tomb and everything, and not allowing his body to be defiled, rotten, or anything else that might have happened by the hand of the Romans, or just time deterioration, so on and so forth. Giving him a decent burial within a decent time frame. By Shema Mashiach Yahushua.
Hey, Shalaki Elder.
All right, Salakia. Biblical figures. Who was Joseph of Arimathea? By Shema Mashiach Yahushua.
Shema Mashiach
Shema
Yahushua.
Mashiach Yahushua.
Shema Mashiach Yahushua.
Gun?
Khan.
All right, so every once in a while we'll do that. We'll go over biblical figures and a little bit of history on them. Y'all can look up Joseph of Arimathea, also yourselves, and get a little bit more insight on him. But like I said, most of what you're going to find is going to be how he was referenced in the gospel by Shema Mashiach Yahushua. Khan?
Khan.
All right. Shemaiah want to say something. And Hannah had her hand up. I don't even know how long you had your hand up, sis Salakia.
Khan.
Shalom. I just had a quick question. So
hold on 1 second, sis. Shemaiah, you want to say something?
Yeah, Khan. I never looked at Yahushua being, that scripture like says, he was died or buried with the rich. And we see he was buried in a tomb that nobody was ever buried in. So if he was, I'm guessing, like, for example, most people would have been buried in, like, maybe the poor people all had, like, the same tomb and they were all kind of buried in there. And the significance of him being buried in a tomb by himself, is that what made him rich? Or meaning because a rich man paid for the tomb?
Anybody understand what he's asking? I don't understand what he's asking.
Like I'm asking, it says he was, kind of associated with the rich in his death, but I'm saying everybody else would have been buried in a tomb. What made it the fact that he was associated with the rich? Because a rich person purchased it, or a rich person took care of his burial accommodations?
Who can answer that? I went over that. Who can answer that?
Salaki.
Go ahead, sis.
Because he was because Joseph of Arimathea was not really, he was walking with them, but he was doing it undercover. He wasn't really a true disciple, but he was a rich person. He wasn't really wicked, but he wasn't really righteous either. So Yahweh got buried by a person that wasn't really what you would call a righteous man, but he wasn't wicked, but he was wicked in the sense that he wasn't with the true disciples of Yahweh.
Wrong, sis. He was a righteous man. We read that earlier. It said he was just. Who can answer that? I said it earlier. Exactly what Shemaiah is asking, I said it earlier. Who can answer? Let me see who was listening to the class.
Salaki.
Go ahead.
Well, today, because Joseph of Arimathea, he was a rich man, and he went and removed the body to give Christ a proper burial.
That's it, because Joseph of Arimathea was a rich man, so he gave him a proper, more likely than not, the tomb was more sophisticated, it was nicer, it was decent. Now remember, even in society today, you're buried according to your financial status. Remember, Judas was buried in a potter's field. They just threw him in a potter's field. Poor people today, they're buried in a potter's field. Rich people, they have more elaborate funerals. So he said he made his grave with the wicked and the rich in death, meaning a rich man came along, took his body, and gave him a proper funeral in a more nicer tomb, something that the rich would be buried in. Right? That hold on, sis. That's what I said earlier. I said that earlier. That's all that's talking about. It was a prophecy that Yahweh Shah would be buried by a rich man in a nicer tomb, something that a richer person, an environment that a richer person would be buried in. No more, no less. Everybody understand?
Hi.
Hi.
All right.
Fine, Elder.
That was
Salakia.
Isaiah. That was Isaiah 53:9.
Yeah, Isaiah 53:9. Remember, it kept stressing in the gospel that Joseph of Arimathea was a rich man.
Hi.
Fine.
Remember, it kept stressing that. That's why I said. Now, some of the scholars disagree with that interpretation. They interpret that to mean he was put to death by the rich and the wicked, meaning the Roman Empire. But that don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? It just makes more sense that he was put to death by the wicked and he was buried by the rich. Khan?
God.
Khan.
Fine,
Elder.
Salaki.
Khan, hold on. Hana had a point.
Shalom. So my
Shalom.
question was that when you read the insert about him having a proper burial, it said that they embalmed him. Like, is that like questionable, or is that just was he actually embalmed, and is that just something that the rich did, or is that okay for Israelites to do?
No, that's just the wording that they used. He was actually just rubbed down in the spices and aloes and oil. That's it. They just used the word embalmed, but the scriptures don't say he was embalmed. It said he was just prepared in the spices and oils and wrapped in a linen cloth. That's just what they chose the word, use the word embalmed.
Okay, time.
All right,
That's what I wanted to know.
But that, sometimes these commentaries and stuff, they use their own wording, but that's not what the scripture said. We more so rub the body down in spices and oils to preserve it, but all that chemicals and all that
Embalming
stuff,
fluid.
embalming fluid, nah, we didn't do all
Yeah.
that. The Egyptians did that. The Egyptians did that.
Yeah, I was going to
But
say that from my experience with the elder during the funerals, that's not what we went over.
nah,
That's confusing.
nah, they just rubbed this body down. They had a way they prepared the body where they rubbed it down with spices and oils and different things, and that was used as a preservation of the body. Not no damn embalming fluid.
God. Salaki, you hear a lot of murders happening in the hood. It be from dudes smoking that stuff.
Yeah, that's what wet is.
Yeah.
That's
that
what
juice.
wet and dust.
Yep.
Wet and dust, and what else they call it?
Juice.
In DC, down in DC, they call it Scooby Doo.
Sherm sticks.
They got all kinds of names for that.
In LA, they call it Sherm. They dip the blunt in embalming fluid and smoke it.
Right.
Right. And isn't that a formaldehyde?
I don't know, but they be bugged.
Yes. Yeah. That wet. No, that wet.
Formaldehyde.
Huh?
Yes,
it is what they say.
Yeah, that embalming fluid is formaldehyde, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever unfortunately, I've been to a lot of funerals and wakes, especially coming up in the hood. Niggas getting killed left and right. But you go and it has a distinct smell. Like if I go you go over the coffin, like, you know, one of my mans or whatever, family, whatever, they get killed. You go to the funeral or the wake. You might lean over the coffin to get them a final hug or whatever, and you could smell the formaldehyde coming off of them. That's the embalming fluid they put in them. That damn formaldehyde, and it got a certain smell to it. And a lot of dead bodies I've been around, it had that smell, especially if I was at a wake or a funeral. You know, whatever, you crying, whatever. Oh man, rest in peace. I'm gonna miss you. Let me give my man a hug before they close the casket, and the body got that smell.
Salakia, and it has methanol in it.
Yeah, methanol in it. They got all kinds of chemical, and them chemical, what's the word? They emanate a certain smell. They give off a certain smell. What's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. They give off a certain smell, man. Is horrible. So they use
pungent.
Pungent, right? It gives off a certain smell, but they use the word embalmed there. But what we know as embalmed today, that was not Israel's custom. We more so dealt with natural myrrhs, aloes, just like the scriptures say, myrrhs and aloes and spices to preserve the body.
Gone. A lot of brothers never make it home after that.
I don't think Yahushua was injected with no damn formaldehyde.
Con.
So does that answer everybody's question?
Yeah.
About the rich and everything?
I just
that's all it's talking about.
Salakia.
Yep.
What's the wicked part? Why does it say with the wicked, made his grave with the wicked?
Because y'all wasn't listening. I went over that stuff. Y'all wasn't listening. The question I literally said, the questions I asked and I said them. I explained it. Who knows? Who's the wicked? What is the wicked talking about? Who was listening to the class?
Salaki, I got it.
The Romans.
Right.
Like it.
Yeah. The wicked killed them.
It was the Romans, and it was the wicked Sanhedrin Jews that teamed up and betrayed him to the Romans. Khan? Remember it said Joseph wasn't a part of that?
Khan.
Remember we read where Joseph didn't consent, so he wouldn't be included in the wicked. And then we also read he was a just man in his deeds. So really, the Sanhedrin was just Joseph's job. That was just his job. That's just where he worked at. But behind that, he was a righteous follower of Yahushua. Said he waited for the kingdom. And it did call him a disciple of Yahushua.
He didn't agree in the council.
Right, he didn't agree with the council to put him to death. So the wicked is talking about the sellout Jews, leaders at that time, betraying him to the Romans.
Gone.
The rich in his death is talking about Joseph taking his body and burying it in a nice sepulchre, a rich sepulchre. He probably had a fancy sepulchre. Gone?
All
right, everybody understand now?
Gone.
That's why you have to be paying attention. It's okay to ask questions if you didn't hear, but I literally went over, I said all that stuff when we read the scripture. Khan? Bash. Shema Mashiach. All right, that's it. Any more questions concerning the class? Not did Yahushua wear green slippers? Any questions concerning the class?
I definitely want you to do a class on going more into the death. and resurrection and regeneration.
Okay, Karen. I think I got a class on. No, we'll do an updated one. All right, it's always good for a refresher. So that's it. Biblical figures. Who was Joseph of Arimathea? By Shema Mashiach Yahushua. All right. We've been on here for a while, y'all.